So for this month's or week's model workshop video diary thing, we have a Robinson 04. Now this one, it was bought essentially brand new. I will talk more about that in the post-game discussion section of this video. But yeah, it's a pretty decent model, apart from one problem and something I've noticed. I don't know if the camera is going to pick up on it, but for something that was sold essentially brand new and has literally never been out of its box for a number of years, yeah, it is very, very dusty, very dirty, and I don't know how that is possible because it's been, like I said, it's been in its box for nearly 15 years. So, quick rundown. This was part of the original, the first run of Bachmann Robinson 04s. This is 63601. This is the preserved one. This was from the first run, and it was sold on, I saw this on Hereford Model Center for a very good price, and it essentially, it's like new, apart from all the dust. But yeah, so the whole point of this video, essentially, is to give this rather underappreciated model some TLC, because I think it deserves it, and also it needs it, because it's, like I said, and I've state and quote, it's been in its box for 15 years. So what I plan to do is, first I'm going to attempt to brush off all this dust. The keyword is attempt. If I can't do anything about that, I'm going to just throw it in some soapy water and give it a bath. And by that, I mean I'm just going to take the bodies off. I'm not going to throw the whole thing in there. I don't know what idiot would do that. But yeah, I'm just going to take the bodies off and just put it in some soapy water, scrub it down lightly. Hopefully it gets all the dust off, and then I will put it back on, put the body back on the chassis. And barring that, I will lubricate the whole mechanism, because I'm pretty sure it's all bone dry in there. So yeah, the reason why I'm not holding it and picking it up is mainly because, one, I don't like this connection. I'll turn it upside down in a bit, but I really don't like this connection. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is also because I really don't feel like holding it and picking it up all the time. But yeah, so I'm going to attempt to brush all this off before I do anything else. And then I will lubricate it, because it's been sitting in its box for 15 years. Lubricate it and run it in. And then if I don't have any issues, then I will detail it. But let's get the actual TLC out of the way first, and then we will see what happens. Alright, so before I continue, I actually wanted to test this thing and make sure it still works, because like I said, it's been in its box for about 15 plus years. So, yeah, just doing a little quick test run real quick. I normally would test this on the test track, but it's currently indisposed at the moment, so I'm stuck with the rolling road. But anyway, I'm going to set it forwards. Everything's all plugged in. The wheels are all on their rollers, because a lot of my locomotives don't like this thing, so they have a tendency to derail themselves. So, anyway, everything's all good. Let's apply some power. Hopefully it works. There's movement. Not a lot of movement, but let's just give it a push. Or nudge. Or literally something. Alrighty. There is movement. Up. 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 Alrighty. That's kind of all I need. That's kind of all I need to know. There is movement. It works. Test it backwards real quick. Yep. There's some movement. Not a lot, but I think that's the rolling roads problem and not the locomotive, because all my engines do this. But it works, and that's what matters. So onwards to cosmetic attention. So now that the bodies are currently drying off after their little bath, I decided to turn my attention to the chassis. So here's the chassis. It's well, it's fairly basic as far as chassis go. It's nothing. It works. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, in my opinion. That's just my point of view on things. But anyway, here's the chassis, the mechanism. It's a 3-pole motor. It is what it is. I don't really care what's in my engines as long as they work, and they work well, and they don't give me any problems. That's how it should be. But hey. One surprising thing that I saw upon taking the chassis from the body is that there's still some grease in there, some oil and grease, which is nice, but I will still service this anyway, because, yeah, I think it kind of needs some. It's not a lot, but I have no intention of putting a lot on there anyway, so. Body removal was fairly simple. All you had to do is remove a screw here. You do have to take the pony off, which is why it's over there. And then there's another screw here. And that's where the drawbar is. And thankfully, unlike certain other Bachmann models, you don't have to faff around with removing the drawbar out from under the body. So I'm gonna oil this. I'm gonna use what's left in here. This is just silicone lino multi-purpose stuff. It's like a silicone thing. I'm using what's left because I really don't have a lot, and this tube is a lot lighter than what it once was. It's almost empty, so I'm gonna have to go get some actual silicone grease. And then I'm also gonna oil all the axles and the gears with this. And I really do like this stuff. So before I do that, though, I want to show you the tender. This is the tender chassis. There's no weight in here at all. Alright, so here's the plug. Oh my god. Here's the plug that I don't particularly like. This is like an early version. I'll put up a picture. This is ridiculous. Yeah, so this is an early version of the annoying wire and harness type connector that we've all gotten used to. This is like an early version. It's got pins. Certain tender engines have this. The early runs of the 7F, the S&D 7F, they have this. The 2s, the Super Ds. I think all of them have it. And then these have it as well. That's from the top of my head. That's all. I think that's all the models that have this annoying connection. And like I said, I'll put up a picture, but it goes into like a little pocket there, and you have to wiggle it around. And of course, there's pins, and that can be very daunting. So I don't really like this. I actually rather like the little wire and harness for all its faults and annoyances and grievances it's provided over the years. I rather prefer that than this. But yeah, there's your 21 pin socket as well. I'm not sure if later versions of the Robinson 04, or in this case the 8K, as I'm going to call it, because it's more than it's more than one. Bachmann have made more than one version of this model. They've made the Great Western version, and then they've made the ROD version recently. But I'm not sure if they have weights in the tender. I would like to assume that they do. But yeah, I don't understand it. And also, this is the same tender that's behind the D11 and the J11. So, and an annoying bit of tidbit. That's the coal load. It's a metal coal load. And if you have a Bachmann J11, you know that the J11 comes with a absolutely massive coal depiction, which is ridiculous, and I don't understand why it's done that way when it should be like that. And I think the D11 is like that as well, but I have yet to get a D11. Anyway, I will service the chassis, give it a light service, and then once the body finishes drying off, I'll stick it all back together and I'll run it in properly, and then we can do some detailing. Alright, now that we got the 04 relatively cleaned up and it's been ran in, there's still some like water spots and stuff. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up on it, but there's like a few. Just need to rub those off and then it'll be good to go. But now that I've got it rubbed down, it's had a bath, it's ran in, it's pretty much good to go now. I'll go for detailing, so to speak. So one of the things I actually want to do is fix the pony truck, not the pony truck, the pony wheel. I'll replace that with an Allen Gibson wheel from Wizard Models. And the other thing I actually do want to do is fix this connecting rod, because as you can see, much like the H2 and the C1, it's got a kink in the rod. I don't know why it has it, but it does. It's very annoying. I'm sure there's a really stupid reason for why there is a kink in the rod, but yeah, it's pretty much all that needs to be done. It's a relatively light thing in terms of detailing. I don't really need to do much to it. I do need to glue the I do need to glue the handrails back down because they popped out. Well, I popped them out to rub down the body and all that stuff. So those will need to be refitted. And then the rear lamp bracket broke off, not surprisingly because it was at a wonky angle, but that broke off, and that's in here in the coal load. Speaking of the coal load, I'm going to probably replace it with a real coal load as well. And then add the detail pack that comes with the logo, and then that's pretty much it. So, fairly light detailing job, so let's get started on that. Right, so I couldn't necessarily film the process, but basically what you have to do is remove these screws here, which hold the cylinders, and one of the crosshead sidebar footstep thing. You basically have to remove those. I tried to pull them out, but you can't because of how this assembly is. As you can see, it's very weird. It's not conventional. And I think it's like glued in place. Sorry about the poor camera work, but yeah, I think it's glued in place. So yeah, I tried to pull out the rods, didn't work. So I resorted to plan B, which is using some pliers. As you can see, there's a kink in this rod. This is the left-hand side rod. As you can see, there's a kink in it. And then the right one is relatively straight. I still need to straighten it out a bit, but as you can see, there's a kink. Don't know why there's a kink. It's really annoying. I don't know why they do that, but it's not prototypical, and it's really annoying. But what I do is got some pliers, and I straighten it out. That's basically all you have to do. So I'm gonna do that off camera, take some pictures and whatnot, and then put it all back together, and we'll go on to the next detailing step. So here's the Bachmann Robinson 04 on the white background, and as you can see, it looks a little different than the last time we saw it earlier in the video. So admittedly, what started out as a simple TLC job turned into something a little bit more. It has been glossed up and weathered, and admittedly, I'm going to be completely honest, the weathering is not the best. I know, because one, I'm not that great at weathering, and two, this was my first time using paint instead of weathering powders or pigments or whatever the hell they're called these days. So yeah, this was more or less a guinea pig for that, and probably wasn't the best thing to do to use this particular model. And I also didn't have a particular guide to weathering either. However, I did use one photograph. I will put it up here, but I tried my best to match it, or tried to like not really copy it, but like make something similar to it, I guess. So yeah, it's not really great, and I know there's loads of people out there who are a hell of a lot better at weathering, and I am definitely not one of them. So there's that. So modifications, we'll start out with the front. So the buffer beam has had its screw link coupling fitted from the detail pack, and then I had some overspray from weathering, and I tried my best to get those into like the grooves on the buffer beam and the rivets and such, because realistically they're not really that clean. Again, going off the photograph and also several other photographs I have used as references when weathering, And I know I just said I didn't have much of a reference. I didn't have a specific reference. I did look at various other photographs of 6.3, 601. But yeah, and then there's some grease on the buffer beam as well. Smoke box, really nothing done to it apart from, it's been glossed up. You can't really tell because once again, overspray kind of got onto the smoke box, and I did clean it up a little bit. So there's that. The pony truck, well, not the pony truck, but like the pony wheels has been replaced with some Allen Gibson wheels. Like I said in the Beachy Head video, you can use markets if you can find them. But yeah, and I'll also put up like the actual diameter of the wheels that I use. So if you do want to do this at home as well, I will provide that link. Next up is something I admittedly I probably shouldn't have done, and I straightened the connecting rod. Now, upon doing this, I immediately regretted it because the running started to be a little bit choppy, and I did end up bending it a little bit more closer to what it originally looked like, despite what the photographs depict. So this running is better now, but it's still a bit choppy, and that's probably that actually is because I straightened the rod, because the real thing doesn't have a kink in the rod, and for whatever reason the model does. And there's not a lot of clearance between that step and the crosshead, and you actually can't take the crosshead out, which is very annoying, and it's a really thick step. The plastic anyway on the step is really thick, and you can't really remove the crosshead, which is annoying. So there's that. I couldn't repaint but like paint inside the frames. I did make an attempt to take the boiler and the cab off, but that didn't end well. So I didn't want to create further damage. But as you can see, it's been glossed up, and this was done using floor polish. A specific brand of floor polish. You can use actual gloss varnish, but I prefer this stuff. It works okay. This was also sprayed through the airbrush, which is actually one of my preferred techniques to do. Moving to the cab, I painted I didn't really paint the cab interior. It was already painted, but the floor had a black wash all over it. So there's that. And the tender, finally, once again, was weathered. Once again, there was no guide to weathering, like a specific reference. I just started doing what I thought was alright and what looked good. I didn't want it to look like an actual Days of Steam 04. I tried to, model it off of the preserved one by looking at various reference photos and stuff and other preserved locos. So that's why there's a lot of like brake dust and stuff on the wheels. I tried, and that's literally the best I can do. Is I tried. Moving towards the rear, once again, screw link coupling, vacuum pipe, buffers, and then something I noticed upon unboxing the model was that the rear handrail was not present. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it broke off in transit or if the model just simply didn't have one. But that was replaced with a new one. And then the top lamp bracket, that broke off. It literally just snapped off as I was handling the model, and I was being very careful with it. But yeah, it just snapped off, and that was simply glued back in place. It seems to be a common problem because I see them all at wonky angles. And then if we go to the top, if I just turn it, if we go to the top of the tender, it's had a real coal load fitted. The coal load you do get is just a metal load. So once again, if you do end up doing this, you will lose some weight. And then the top of the tender, and also the roof of the cab was weathered as well. And I'm not sure if the camera will pick up on it, but I also sprayed over the top of the boiler and the firebox to simulate like soot and stuff. Then the other side. I'm not a massive fan of the weathering. Comparing it to like other people, and like I said, there's loads of people out there on YouTube and the modeling community as well that are much better at weathering than I am. And this was, once again, a first for me because I normally use powders and not paint. So the paint I used initially was frame dirt. There we go, rail match frame dirt. The acrylic stuff, obviously, not the enamel. And that was sprayed along the frames of the tender and the cap steps. And then I went back over it with weathered black. Weathered black was used on the smoke box and the running board, as well as the cab and the top of the tender. And then I mixed that. I put like a drop of frame dirt in with like the weathered black I had, and sprayed like around here, around the front of the smoke box, and just, you know, to add a slight bit of variation, but also once again trying to match the reference photo that I had used for this model. So there's that. Make of that what you will. I would normally use powders, but I wanted to try something a bit different, and also because I intend on weathering another loco, like heavily weathering. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm not like a massive fan of I'm not a massive fan of what I did, and admittedly I kind of went like, oh crap, why did I do that? And also my airbrush, it kind of clogged up on me halfway through weathering, so I kind of gave up admittedly. So but it looks alright. I think it looks alright, apart from the weathering. The weathering I think kind of ruined it. But I mean, we learn, live and learn. I'll probably never do it again. That's a lie, I will. But yeah, I quite like it. So before I go, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Hereford Model Center, because that is where I purchased this model. And this, I'm not sure if I said this at the beginning of the video, because this is months later. But I originally got this for, I think it was like 82 quid or something like that, but that was before the tariff, the whole tariff thing. So I ordered that on the 22nd of July, and it arrived on the 25th. So really good shipping from them. And they have like a lot of these Robinson 04s, because these things stuck around for a very long time. And this is, like I said, this isn't secondhand. This is practically brand new. So that's why I had to oil it and service it essentially before I did anything to it. But yeah, I highly recommend Hereford Model Center, especially if you want an 04 and you don't want to pay like a ludicrous price. Alternatively, you can pick them up secondhand, and they go for like 60 quid sometimes. I've seen them go for like 60, 70 quid. But the ones at Hereford Model Center are practically brand new. You probably will need to service them though. But yeah, not too shabby compared to some of the other stuff that's coming up in this series. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I think that's all I have to say. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So before I actually sign off, like for real this time, I just wanted to quickly show you what I meant by it's running not being the best, and that is largely due to me straightening out that connecting rod. So the real thing doesn't have a kink in the rod, but for whatever reason the Bachmann one does. Now, initially I thought that would be no big deal straightening it out, but then I went and put it on the track, and it just seizes up, and that's mainly because of the step right here. It's very thick plastic, and there's literally nothing I can do about it. I can't even get a file in there to try and file away some of the thickness. And like I mentioned earlier, I can't get the crosshead out because this whole thing is just one piece. So there's that. But anyways, there's also a future video in the background as well, but that's not the subject, unfortunately. So I'll show you, I'll just demonstrate it real quick. It literally just jams up. So here we go, and reverse. There we go. See, it just jams up, and that's largely due to the rod being straightened. I am. I'll turn it up to full power. Oh, it wanted to move then. It got further than it did. Yeah. I don't. The things I do for realism. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you. I'll fix this. I'll straighten this thing out here real quick. But that'll be off camera, and I will probably put up a post saying that it's been fixed, or I'll probably put a comment down saying it's been fixed. But yeah, I'll straighten this rod out once again. But yeah, it's oh, and now it stopped. It's like actually dead. Hello? Oh boy. Um, all right, so I'm gonna deal with this engine. This thing has been a real pain in the ass, but I'm gonna deal with it real quick. Anyways, that's all. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go probably throw this thing at a wall. Bye.